Alright, things are starting to look better here. So we've unfortunately our viewers cannot hear anything yet. So let's change that. We have set in our settings that everything is disabled, which concerns audio. So now let's manually add these things. And we're gonna do something which seems a little bit unintuitive here at first. And that is, we're gonna create a new scene which only holds audio. Alright. So here, like, this is only visuals. And now what we're gonna do is we create a new scene and we call it audio. And there are different ways how you can add audio to your thing, to your stream. I mean, the easiest would be like you have one scene and you just add the audio right here. There is a plus button for audio output capture and audio input capture. You can just use these, put them in here, and you are done. And in very simple setups, that's all you need really, and that's fine. But if your setup becomes more complicated, and ours will become more complicated, you want things a little bit more organized. So this is why we're gonna create a separate scene, which we call audio, and that scene will contain no visuals whatsoever, and only audio sources. Depending on what you are doing, how you are streaming, what kind of microphone setup you have, if you have a co-caster, and so on and so forth, you might have a quite elaborate audio setup. We're not gonna dive deep into audio setups here, because honestly my audio setup is pretty simple. But there are people out there who have like really complicated audio setups, right, with soundboards and whatnot. And you can dive pretty deep in there, and especially in those cases, it is very important that you keep your things tidy and organized. And putting all the audio into one scene is one way of doing so. It's not the only way, but it's the way I prefer. So in this audio scene, we now add an audio output capture. And I call this audio output capture because I'm only going to have one, and that's totally fine to call it like that. So you have to choose a device here, and for me I think that is that one. We're gonna see if it is if I go into my game, and yes. So I just clicked around in the menu of Heroes of the Storm, and you can see that there's things happening down here. Alright. So that is our audio capture. You can fiddle around a little bit with the slider, which makes the audio capture louder or less loud. And where you want to be is like somewhere around here with your game sound if you are casting. If you're streaming your gameplay, you might actually go up a little bit. Okay? And that is capturing everything which you can hear in your headphones or on your speakers. This is just the output of your sound card, right? So keep that in mind if you have like notifications pinging up on Discord, for example. That will be recorded and streamed out. If your mom calls you on your computer, it will be captured by this, right? But you would probably want to stop your stream in that case anyways. But just keep it in mind, everything you have running on your computer, if you have like Spotify running, whatever, everything will be captured like that. Okay, but it is a nice simple setup. So we have that. The next thing is people need to hear your voice. So you probably have a microphone, one or two, and we're just gonna call this one headphone mic. I have two microphones. I have one microphone I use with my team when I play, and I have another better quality microphone which is not attached to my headset, which I put in front of me when I'm doing casting, because then I usually don't have to move my arms around that much as when I do just gaming, and it's okay to have a better mic there standing in front of me. So this is why I have two mics, and this is the first one I'm gonna call Headphone Microphone. And it's gonna be this one, I think. And you can see my voice now down here, and it's like compared to the game sound we had before, it's very loud. Actually, this is way too loud. Alright, so you want to turn the slider. If it's that loud, you want to turn it lower. Where you want to be is somewhere around this line here, but on the -20 where it becomes yellow. So you want to be like, when you get really excited, you want to like hit up to here. You don't want to go into the red ever. But if you're like starting to be casting more energetic and getting more loud because a lot of action is happening, then you want to be like in the yellow, right? But beyond that, if you're just normally speaking, you want to be just at the edge. So this is somewhere how you want to level it. Okay. And this is our second audio source, and this is my headphone. Because I have another microphone, I'm gonna add a third audio capture here, and that one is the blue Snowball microphone. So this is the microphone I can place in front of me when I'm doing casting. It has a better quality. It's currently not on my table, but if I put it on my table, it will be here, and I'm currently speaking into it. And I can level it out. If I put it very close to my mouth, it will be much louder, but it is actually still okay. So I don't really need to do much here, maybe a little bit lower. And that's about it. So now we have two microphones and our audio capture in here. So now, remember, we can only stream one scene to Twitch, right? So how do we do these things? Now here we have all our visuals. Here we have all our audio. We need to combine them somehow. Well, it's pretty easy. You can import scenes as a source into another scene. So if you go to our Heroes gameplay and hit the plus button, there is a scene as a source, and we just pick audio. And now we have audio available in our Heroes gameplay scene. And all these things here are referenced objects, right? So that means if I, for example, mute my Snowball, it will be muted everywhere, right? It's all referenced. So we want to add this audio to all our important scenes where we actually want to have audio. And this is where the setup actually becomes nice. So if you are doing streaming later, you will have, for example, a draft scene, you will have a gameplay scene, you will have a scene which is showing in between maps, where you can show what maps had been picked, for example. But you will also have other scenes where you don't really want people to hear you talking or hear your gameplay sound or whatever. That is, for example, before your stream really starts, before you go live, there might be, maybe you have like some slideshow showing that at which time the stream really starts, maybe a countdown or something like that. You don't want everybody to hear what you're currently talking, right? Because you might be preparing the cast with your co-caster, for example, right? So in that scene, you would just not implement the audio scene over here. And that means everything would be silent in that scene, which is probably what you want. And you would play some music instead as a separate source. You can also, through the setup, if in whatever scene you are, which currently has this audio running, you can, for example, adjust your microphone, right? And maybe you need to turn it up a little bit. Maybe your game sound is too loud. Maybe you need to turn that one a little bit lower. And all of that will be applied to every scene in which audio is relevant, right? So that's pretty handy, because now you can control these things from any scene, and it will affect every scene where it is in. So that's really cool. And this is the the strength of this setup. Imagine we would have instead like one audio source here, and we would call it microphone in Hero's gameplay source, right? And then we would have another audio source here, and we call it microphone in other scene source, right? Then if you change one of them, it would not carry over to the other. And so if you figure out like, oh, my microphone is too low, and you put it up a little bit, and then you change scenes, you go from draft to game, for example, now your microphone is again too low because you haven't changed it in another scene yet. All right. So that is why we are using this kind of setup. And we could have done the same with just referenced objects. Like we could have created a Snowball source here, and we could have, instead of importing the audio source, we could have just let's get rid of the audio scene as a source here. We could have gone and just get our audio output capture and add existing, and then we would have here a referenced object. And again, if we change things here, it will be changed everywhere which has the source. And that's totally fine too. What I don't like about this is that I have to now do this for every audio thing I have, right? And I only have 3, but other people have more, and you might have more in the future. So this is just more work, right? And if I want to change these things now, I have to take it out. Like if I want to say, okay, like maybe in this scene I really don't need the sound, then I have to remove all of them separately, right? It's more work. Now I have to press so many more buttons. Instead, if I just go and add the audio scene, one scene does it all, and we are here. And if I want to do something special, like only my microphone is being heard but not the gameplay, for example, then I can still do that the other way if I need to. Okay, and that is the audio part of our stream. Let me have a quick look into my document if there is something important I have forgotten. No, I think we are ready. So now with this setup, if I would hit start streaming, it would actually go to my channel, and people would hear me, people would hear my game sound, people would see my gameplay, and this is almost all you need to start your journey as a streamer. Not as a caster yet. We haven't done really any casting specific things yet. But if you just want to stream your gameplay, this is it. So what else is there to do? Well, in the next episode we're going to talk about Nightbot, which is a moderator bot for your chat. And for the episode after that, we're going to talk a little bit about post-processing your streams. If you want a break and you just want to try things out, this is the time. Just start a stream, go nuts, have some fun with your stream, invite some people into your stream, and ask them if the quality is good, if the sound is okay, if the video is good, if the stream stutters, or if the resolution is too low, maybe you can increase it, stuff like this. So that is a good point where you can try these things out. Enjoy.